Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiret. Ashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavate Ruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Neshtaki. Om Agnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Tatpurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitya. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunivadi Paschati Deshatharini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Canto 4 Chapter 7 verse 25. Daksho Grihitarhana Sadhanottamam Yagneshwaram Vishwasrajam Param Gurum Sunandanandadyanugairvritam muda Granan Prapade Prapede Prayatah Kritanjalihi. When Lord Vishnu accepted the oblations offered in the sacrifice, Daksha the Prajapati began with great pleasure to offer respectful prayers unto him. The Supreme Person of Godhead is actually the master of all sacrifices and preceptor of all the Prajapatis, and is served even by such personalities as Nanda and Sunanda. So this Nanda and Sunanda are Lord Vishnu's servitors in Vaikuntha. Daksha Uvacha Shuddham Uparatakila Buddhyavastam Chinmatramekam Abhayam Pratisiddhya Mayam Tishtam Stayaiva Purushattvam Upetya Tasyam Aste Bhavana Parishuddhati Vatmatantraha. Daksha addressed the Supreme Person of Godhead. My dear Lord, you are transcendental to all speculative positions. You are completely spiritual, devoid of all fear, and you are always in control of the material energy. Even though you appear in the material energy, you are situated transcendentally. You are always free from material contamination because you are completely self-sufficient. And the devotees of the Lord are also have these qualities. They are also devoid of all fear. They are also situated transcendently, though they are appear to be present in material energy, and also they are free from material contamination. Which means that for us also this is the goal that we get here. And we've discussed this multiple times. Material contamination basically is this desire for sense gratification independent of the Lord. We have to become free from that material contamination. Ritvija Uchuhu Tattvam Nate Vayam Anjana Rudra Sapat Karmanya Vagraha Dhiyo Bhagavan Vidamaha Dharmopalakshanam Idam Trivrid Advarakhyam Gnatam Yadartham Adhidaivam Ado Vyavasthaha. The priests address the Lord, saying, O Lord, transcendental to material contamination, by the curse offered by Lord Shiva's men, we have become attached to fruitive activities. And thus we are now fallen and therefore do not know anything about you, because they got cursed by Nandi. On the contrary, we are now involved in the injunctions of the three departments of Vedic knowledge under the plea of executing rituals in the name of Yagna. Injunctions of the three departments is Dharma, Artha, Kama. We know that you made arrangements for distributing the respective shares of the demigods. The Vedas are known as Traigunya Vishaya Veda. Those who are serious students of the Vedas are very much attached to the ritualistic ceremonies mentioned in the Vedas. And therefore, these Vedavadis, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Vedavada Ratha Partha, they cannot understand that the ultimate goal of the Vedas is to understand Lord Krishna. Vedeshcha Sarve Rahameva Vedyaha. Those who have transcended the qualitative Vedic attractions, however, can understand Krishna, who is never contaminated by material qualities. So we should understand this position of actually understanding Krishna is so exalted. Even for those who are well read in the Vedas, who are, Trivedis, Chaturvedis, they can't understand Krishna. Like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Bhaktya Mama Vijanati. not by some knowledge, some vidvat, mm, some scholarship. We cannot understand Krishna by being a scholar. We can understand Krishna only by being a devotee. And what is the meaning of being a devotee? Is to try and follow in the footsteps of or in the follow the instructions which have been given by the acharyas. How will we understand Krishna if we follow the instructions given by the acharyas? Multiple things. Of course, Krishna is saying Spuratyada, Swayameva Spuratyada. So when we follow instructions, Krishna will reveal himself. And he's also said Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam. So Krishna um, very closely interacts with the devotee in his life, mm, making sure that he understands that Krishna is present in our life. Um, right. So for a devotee, it's Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochenayana. Santa Sadaiva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti. Him Shamasundaram Achintya Gunaswarupam. Shamasundara. So with the ointment, I uh, the, with love, the devotee looks into his heart and sees Shamasundara. Mm. Yeah, Shamasundara is there in the heart of the pure devotee and he is guiding him every moment. So he can understand Krishna because he knows, okay, this is not, he's given up independent free will. Uh, mm, so then Krishna will reveal himself. Krishna will show direction. Krishna will take decisions. And the devotee completely understands, oh, okay, this is not me. This is Krishna. Krishna wants me to do this. Okay. But at the same time, we should not be speculative about it. Saying, yeah, Krishna is advising me to do this. So many people come and tell me, Krishna told me to do this. Krishna is not going to tell us like that. So either it's going to get revealed through um, senior Vaishnavas, gurus, etc. Or we are so pure that actually Krishna does like Krishna is doing with Arjuna. But that situation is very, very rare, not for everybody. But somehow or the other, Krishna will make his presence felt. And the devotee can understand Krishna. But for that, we have to transcend this Vedic attractions, meaning this Triguna and Traigunya Vishaveda Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna. Only then we can understand Krishna. And Janma Karma Charme Divyam. Without understanding Krishna, you can't go back to him. Therefore, Lord Vishnu is addressed here as Ananjana, free from material contamination. Bhagavad Gita, the crude Vedic scholars have been deprecated by Krishna as follows. Yamimam pushpitam vacham pravadanta vipashtitaha vedavadarata nanyadasti vadinaha. Men of small knowledge, very much attached to the flowery words of the Vedas, and they say that there is nothing more than this. Flowery words of the Vedas is dharmartha kama. And they say there is nothing more than this. Nanyadasti. Nothing else is there. Iti vadinaha. They argue. Mm. So this position of understanding Krishna is really very, very rare. Tadasya uchuhu utpatyadvani asharana uruklesha durgenta kogra vyalan vishte vishayam mrigatrishyatma gehorubharaha द्वन्द्वश्वभ्रे कलमृग भये शोकदावेग्न सार्तः पादुकस्ते शरणद kada yati kamopasrishtaha. The members of the assembly addressed the Lord for exclusive shelter for all who are situated in troubled life. In this formidable fort of conditional existence, the time element, like a snake, is always looking for an opportunity to strike. Padam padam yad vipadam. Every step is a day's danger. This world is full of ditches of so-called distress and happiness, and there are many ferocious animals always ready to attack. The fire of lamentation is always blazing, and the mirage of false happiness is always alluring, but one has no shelter from them. These foolish persons live in the cycle of birth and death, always overburdened in discharging their so called duties. and we do not know when they will accept the shelter of your lotus feet. Mhm. So this is the reality of this material world. Mm, mm. So though the Lord is the exclusive shelter for all those who are situated in troubled life, which is conditioned life, people in troubled life don't look at him at all. In this formidable fort of conditional existence, time element is always looking for an opportunity to strike. World is full of distress and happiness. There are many ferocious animals ready to attack. Then na sochati, kankshati, hmm, lamentation, mirage of false happiness. But one has no shelter from them, which means we can't escape. We can't escape from these things unless we take shelter of Krishna. And those who don't take shelter, foolish persons, live in the cycle of birth and death, always overburdened in discharging so-called duties because this is not the real duty. So-called duties of our Varna and Ashrama are they're just part of our, they're not everything. Mm. Actually, the focus is Krishna Bhakti, but this is side business, just to keep body and soul together. That's all. So these people are saying we don't know when they will accept the shelter of your lotus feet. Persons who are not in Krishna consciousness are living a very precarious life, as described in this verse. All these circumstantial conditions are due to forgetfulness of Krishna. This is the only disease, only problem with the material world, is forgetfulness of Krishna. The Krishna consciousness movement is meant to give relief to all these bewildered and distressed persons, which is everybody. Is there anybody in this world who is not bewildered, who is not distressed, except devotees? Therefore, it is the greatest relief work for all human society, and the workers thereof are the greatest well-wishers, for they follow in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya, who is the greatest friend to all living entities. Workers means workers of this Krishna consciousness movement. So whoever is working in this Krishna conscious movement, they are the greatest well-wishers. Why? Because they follow in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya, who is the greatest friend of all living entities. So basically, we have to somehow engage in preaching. So yeah, we've discussed this multiple times. Either direct involvement, indirect involvement. Somehow we have to be involved. Somehow we should be uh, mm, object of, like Lord Chaitanya should look at us, you know, mm, with mercy. Kripa Kataksha, they say, should be the object of mercy. Only then we can actually hope to make progress in Krishna consciousness. Yesterday, Balaram Purnima, so studying in a class saying that actually without the mercy of Balaram, we can't make any progress. And without the mercy of Balaram means Balaram manifests his mercy through Guru. The Guru is the representative of Balaram. So, unless we understand the Guru, we surrender to the Guru, we follow the instructions of Guru, there is no way we can make progress. Say prasadat, Bhagavad prasad. Mm. And every Guru in ISKCON, they just advise, instruct their disciples to be part of Krishna consciousness movement. Spread the movement, book distribution, preaching, Nagar Sankirtan, etc., etc. So we have to somehow engage. If we are just doing our own bhakti, sadhana, chanting, reading, etc., we're not going to make as much progress. And if we are really making progress, eventually we'll come to the stage where we'll say, okay, how can I now contribute to the movement? And everybody has different propensities, right? So everybody has their own strengths that Krishna has endowed them with. So we have to use our strength. Mm. For example, I mean, if we have to deal with some legal stuff or some, negotiations, that this and all, I'm very bad at that. So then there are other devotees who are really good doing that. So then, those devotees should front-end those activities like that. So each of us we have our own strengths. So we should use that. We should somehow engage. Krishna given skills in our material life. We should somehow use them in Krishna's service. Mm. And actually, Prabhupada says that is the role of a guru. Actually, guru sees the strength, propensities of the disciple and engages him accordingly in Krishna consciousness. And of course, everybody who is preaching is a guru in that sense. And it's all our responsibility to identify that and uh, let people engage. Sometimes people are very upset saying that you're not giving us some other service, this, that, and all, because they don't understand. They don't have the ability. And if you give them, they will not be able to do well and they'll also not be happy. But they don't understand. Um, so it's very difficult sometimes. Sometimes, we don't feel like giving it and leaving it and let see the devotee not being able to perform the service also. But if we tell maybe because of false ego or something, people will not understand. Say, no, 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 we'll be able to do. Yeah, okay. Then we'll have to give and then support them, be there, help them out, etc. But we have to understand all of us have our own strengths and weaknesses. And we have to, of course, in Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada used to say, whatever is required, we have to do. But sometimes, for example, somebody has to do kirtan. Now, that person who is doing kirtan, yes, he has to take the nama purely. But along with that, if there is public gathering, then there should also be some raga, thala, etc. Right? Because otherwise, people cannot connect with that. And of course, Lord will also be more pleased because actual real preaching happens. Though from a individual devotee is offering to the Lord, yes, it is very pure and the Lord is very happy to accept it. But from a perspective of movement, same thing with respect to giving a class or any of these, right? So everybody, people who are most well equipped to do that should engage. But somehow we have to engage. Somebody is very good in washing pots. Yes, they have to engage in that. There's no, there's nothing wrong. And Krishna treats everybody equally. Krishna treats a person sitting on Vyasasana giving class similar to a person who is washing pots. No problem. But we have to somehow engage. Mm. And the point is about mm, because of lack of Shravanam, because devotees don't read Prabhupada's books, don't hear. Mm. Devotees don't come forward to take up services. Like saying enthusiastic, okay, I want to do this for Krishna. We are always in this material thought process only. Always this tu meme or some material misunderstanding. That's all keeps going on. No constructive thought process. Saying, okay, no, no, I want to do this. I want to do this to please Krishna. Mm. So we were having a discussion for Janmashtami. Then he said, okay, chappal stand. Who will take care? Nobody lifted their hands. I said I could have done it, but there are other services also which I'll have to take care on that day. But nobody lifted their hands because material, looking at it materially. Mm. So these things, we have to, unless we hear, we cannot understand because we are conditioned. Prabhupada is waking us up from our conditioning. And um, yeah, very sometimes, the lack of Shravanam has such a big impact that devotees even lose enthusiasm to please serve and please Krishna. So this Shravanam is very, very important. And Prabhupada says this, like, says things. He's a worker. We're worker. Worker is what? Sevak. We are worker. We are workers of the Krishna consciousness. So we have to just work for Lord Chaitanya. That's all. Whatever is required, do it. Rudra Uvacha. Tapavaradavaranghrav Ashishe Ashishehakhilarte Hyapi Munibhir Asakteradarenar Haniye Yadi Rachita Dhyam Avidyalokopavidham Japati na Ganaye Tat Paranugrahena. Lord Shiva said, my dear Lord, my mind and consciousness are always fixed on your lotus feet. Shiva is saying to Vishnu, my mind and consciousness are always fixed on your lotus feet. which as the source of all benediction and the fulfillment of all desires, are worshipped by all liberated great sages. Hmm. Vishnu's lotus feet is the source of all benediction and fulfillment of all desires. Kama sarva kamo va moksha kama udarati. All desires. And they're worshipped by all liberated sages because your lotus feet are worthy of worship. With my mind fixed on your lotus feet, I am no longer disturbed by persons who blaspheme me, claiming that my activities are not purified. I do not mind their accusations, and I excuse them out of compassion, just as you exhibit compassion toward all living entities. So Shiva is saying, this is all I did. I did not get affected by them. I'm not disturbed by them. But for their own welfare, out of compassion, mm, I might be punishing them, I might be teaching them, just like you exhibit your compassion. Lord Shiva expresses here in his regret at having been angry and having disturbed the sacrificial activities of Daksha. King Daksha had insulted him in many ways, and thus he had become angry and had frustrated the entire sacrificial ceremony. Later, when he was pleased, the yagna performance were reinstituted, and therefore he regretted his activities. Now he says that because his mind is fixed on the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord Vishnu, he is no longer disturbed by the ordinary critics of his way of life. Okay. So Prabhupada is revealing that, okay, initially in this Leela, Shiva was actually angry and, he was disturbed by the critics. But now because his mind is fixed on the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, he is no longer disturbed. And this is a direct instruction for all of us. If our mind is always fixed on the lotus feet of the Lord, fixed on the lotus feet of the Lord simply means what? What does fixing our mind on the lotus feet of the Lord mean? Practically, what does it mean?
Uh, Remembering the holy name, I mean, chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra.
Okay, chanting Hare Krishna. Then what else?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Always engage in Krishna's service.
Yeah, always engaging in Krishna's service, following the instructions of Guru, chanting Hare Krishna. So by doing all this, our mind is fixed at the lotus feet. Um, then we are no longer disturbed. Ordinary critics, yeah. We deal with this like day in, day out. How much ever we try to do whatever, there is somebody or the other to tell that we did something wrong. Right? This is going on all the time. All the time this is going on. Especially when we get into, uh, taking preaching, uh, responsibility of preaching, there everybody and anybody is ready to criticize. Everybody and anybody. Without even looking at who the other person is, people are ready to criticize. And like Prabhupada, like Krishna says, devotees are ready to take that. Because for the pleasure of the Lord. Because we have to, like mother tolerates the mistakes done by the child. And preacher has to tolerate. People are doing mistakes, right? But if we become impatient, then their purification will not happen for those devotees. So we have to tolerate. Trinadapi Sunichena Amanina Manadena. Even if we are not given respect, we have to give respect. We have to help them make progress. And then one day they will only realize, oh, this is not how I deal with devotees. But otherwise, yeah, people will be criticizing. This is not okay. That is not okay. You didn't do this. You did that. That, this, all kinds of stuff. It's okay. We have to deal with it. From this statement by Lord Shiva, it is understood that as long as one is on the material platform, one is affected by the three modes of material nature. And this is why Kapil Muni also says that devotees also do bhakti in the three modes. So unfortunately, many devotees get bewildered. Prabhu, what is this? I thought when we are doing bhakti, these things, these politics, this, bickering, all this should not be there. And yeah, in pure devotional service, there's no place for all this. But since we are not on the platform, we are still doing bhakti on the platform of our modes, and these things will be there. Misunderstanding, quarrels, arguments, lack of respect for each other. All this will happen because it's the modes. So as long as we are in the modes, we will get disturbed, we will get affected by it, we'll feel bad, we'll make others feel bad. All these things will go on. As soon as one is in Krishna consciousness, however, one is no longer affected by such material activities. See, as soon as. So that means if you are getting affected by such material activities, then we know that we are actually not in Krishna consciousness. We are in bodily conception, bodily consciousness, Maya consciousness. So one should therefore always be fixed in Krishna consciousness. How? Busy in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Not doing some service. Oh, somebody has told me, oh, I have to do. Oh, I have so many things. I have my work. This also I have to do. Okay, initially it's okay. For the love and respect of somebody you look up to in Krishna consciousness, we always do that. Sometimes we ourselves are not very inspired to do something, but we look up to somebody in bhakti, and if that person is giving us some guidance, we'll say, no, no, okay, for Prabhu's pleasure, for Mataji's pleasure, I will do. And this is how we please Krishna. Because that same thing has to apply to then Shiksha Gurus, then Diksha Gurus, then Acharyas. Same. Oh, okay, I don't have so much self-drive, but yeah, they are saying, so I should do. I'll try to please them. And by trying to please them, then we please Krishna. Mm. That's how we make progress. So it is guaranteed that such a devotee will never be affected by actions and reactions of the three modes. If you are busy, busy means what? Like today we say, please come do something. We'll say, no, I'm busy. And we should be busy in the transcendental loving service. Then we can transcend the modes. Busy means we don't have time to do anything else except loving devotional service. Even the work that we are doing, we are just doing for the sake of, okay, let me get that money, let me use that money in Krishna's service. That's also transcendental loving service, if you do engage in loving service of Krishna. Of course, but still, because we are in the midst of the modes, we will get affected by them because we are not so powerful. But Krishna will still give us mercy, because to the extent that we, use our hard-earned Lakshmi for Krishna service, to that extent we'll get purified. But yeah, because there's still so much contamination, just engaging, with satsanga, that we will get affected. And hence, at some point of time, we have to plan to get out of this grihastha working mode, and come to vanaprastha full-time devotion mode. It has to happen. This practice also corroborated in Bhagavad Gita. Anyone who is fixed in the transcendental service of the Lord has surpassed all the material qualities and is situated in the state of Brahman realization. Which one is not afflicted by hankering for material objects? Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. That verse. The recommendation of the Srimad Bhagavatam is that one should always be Krishna conscious and should never forget his transcendental relationship with the Lord. Our transcendental relationship with the Lord is that of Seva, for now, Dasya. Until we move into higher rasas, we should never forget, I'm the servant of Krishna. That's all. As long as we can remember this, how can a servant try to enjoy independent of the Lord? No. Okay, so I will give up this nonsense, sense gratification business. This program has to be followed strictly. What is this? Why does Prabhupada write these things? And how come devotees just miss statements like this? Strictly. You have to follow strictly. And actually, one interesting misconception is there, looks like, among devotees, saying that however I do bhakti, I will go back to Krishna. Is that true? Is that true that however we do bhakti, we will go back to Krishna?
No, Prabhuji, it is not.
So how should we do bhakti? How should we do bhakti to actually go back to Krishna?
Your chanting first should be offenseless, and
Yeah,
you should be
okay.
completely surrendered.
Okay. Then?
Prema.
Hare Krishna,
I mean,
Prabhuji.
also,
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, Shashank Prabhu.
Okay. So first thing is like correct me if I'm wrong, Prabhu. Like first thing, our desire always should be for Krishna Prema. Second, strictly following what is like our Acharya Srila Prabhupada, what and all he had mentioned, those things we have to follow.
Okay.
So these
Nice.
two things, if we follow, we can get to Krishna.
Okay. Yeah, Vinod Prabhu.
Yeah, Prabhu. I mean, the answer is right there, Prabhu. Right on top of that, it says he should get rid of that hankering for material
Okay.
objects.
Hankering for material objects. Okay. Yeah. Anything else? Yeah. Just pure devotional service. The answer to this is Tivra, pure devotional service. What should we do to go back to Krishna? Is do intense pure devotional service. This we should remember. Simply one word, 2 words, 3 words, right? Just remember this. Always on the tip of our tongue, we should have this pure devotion, like always coming out. Because then we won't forget that, oh, okay, I should be doing pure devotion. Because we might be doing chanting, but if you don't have pure devotion, rest of the day will go in nonsense, right? So we should do pure devotion and we should do tivra. Tivra means intense. What is intense? Intensity, right? When we are so absorbed, we want to achieve something badly. We so intensely engage ourselves. And that intense engagement is required in executing pure devotion. If we do that, we will get there. If we do mixed devotion, where will we go?
Higher planetary
Higher
system.
planet, Swarga. So we should just simply remember this. Mixed devotion, I can enjoy here. Okay. I will go to Swarga. Okay. Then what after that? Told.
Shine Punya
No, may not be. May not
Matte
be.
Lokamsan.
We might even be able to do bhakti and make further progress, but we don't know. We don't know because it is our mixed devotion. If our desire tilts towards material sense enjoyment, then yes, Kshine Punya. Right? So it's very risky. It's very risky. Right? And yesterday, some devotees were discussing, saying, why Prabhupada said many devotees in ISKCON will go to Swarga. Because we can see that today. Today is the time of mixed devotion. This is what ISKCON is now doing, mixed devotion.
Correct.
And Prabhupada created ISKCON for what?
For Golok Vrindam.
Again, I want those specific words that I said. Like, what is the word? What should be the word in the tip of our tongue?
To go back to Godhead.
Pure devotion.
Pure
Please, you're all
devotion.
not hearing
Pure
properly.
devotion.
I'm again and again repeating this. Pure devotion. ISKCON was created for pure devotional service. Right? And if we are doing mixed devotion, we are not going to achieve what Prabhupada wanted us to, which is to go back to Krishna. Right? So, and we are not able to understand, appreciate these things. Right? For example, I know across ISKCON temples on Balaram Purnima, everybody does one thing. What? What do we do?
Rakshabandhan.
What do we do? We take Raksha and we take it to Jagannath. What is that meaning? What is the meaning of that whole activity?
Basically, to give that spiritual strength, right? To
No, what,
engage it in it.
Baba, just tell me what is the idea of, if you have a sister who comes and ties you Rakhi, what is
Like
the idea?
Raksha Bandhan, right, Prabhu?
Yeah, Raksha Bandhan. So what is the idea of that Raksha Bandhan?
Asking for protection.
Asking for protection. We are asking for protection from the Lord.
The fall down, from falling down into this.
We are asking for protection. Now, we should understand which rasa is this?
Like,
What is
brotherly.
this rasa? Is this rasa? Is there any rasa like this?
No.
This is not pure devotion at all. So, and of course, that is first problem. Second problem is not in our sampradaya at all to do all this Raksha Bandhan and all that. Right? So, we should understand. I mean, see, we are supposed to serve Krishna. Now we are telling Krishna, I am tying like Bandhan. Jagannath, I am tying a Rakhi to you. Please make sure that you are behind me and serving me. This is the mood. Isn't it? Is this pure
Right.
devotion?
No.
Sanatana Goswami, like he chastises Rupa Goswami, saying that you made Radharani engage in our service because you wanted to offer sweet rice to me. He's so upset. And now we are not only like we are encouraging everybody, please go and do this and bandhan, bind Jagannath, saying that Jagannath, you have to protect me. This is your job. This all this is mode of this is not mode of Tivra Bhakti. This is not mode of pure devotion. I've been saying this for many years across different temples in ISKCON.
Prabhuji, I want to ask you something, please.
Yeah.
Prabhu, you're talking about this Raksha Bandhan triangle knot. Prabhu कहते ना भगवान के साथ कोई ना कोई संबंध, you should have some relation with the Lord. And
Yeah.
this I've seen even as a child, like,
Yeah.
I mean, many of the rituals I've left, like,
Yeah.
used to draw Ram, all that I've
Yeah.
left.
Yeah.
But the first thing we do is we do, like it's just, like, I don't know what it is. We do tie a rakhi to the Lordship deities. And
No, we don't. As in, not in Gaudiya
no,
Vaishnava Sampradaya.
no, like, okay, like,
Yeah,
but
not in Gaudiya
I mean,
Vaishnava. See, we
it's one
can
of the
do.
ritual.
Yeah, I mean, people do
It's
so
a
many
ritual,
things,
right,
Mataji. I
right.
mean, like
Okay, yes,
the
right.
other day, somebody called me and said, saying that, like I said the other day, that in South India there's this
Yeah,
Naga
Nag Puja,
Panchami, right? Like
yes.
this. I mean, some speculation which has no basis in Shastra at all, right? I mean, this way though we can do anything and everything, right? Then why are our acharyas sitting and telling us anything? Why should we even listen to them? We can then do whatever we want, right?
No, Prabhuji, like, I understand what you're saying. I mean, like, see, the point what I'm, see, Prabhu, like, there were many rituals which we were also following, like, Chauth ka birth karte the, all that we've left after coming to ISKCON because we do understand. But what I'm saying, like, they say, you should have some sort of a relation with the Lord. Is that
Yeah.
this
So
thing, or it is not?
who's saying? No, who is
I
saying?
mean, usually this is what I keep,
No,
like,
but why?
बोला,
No, that's the
हाँ,
whole point, no, Mataji.
see, like, जैसे अर्जुन का relation था, उसका relation था, जब
है
तक you
ना,
do not have the relation,
है ना,
I mean,
Mataji.
I understand, like, I feel okay, we are the servant of the servant of the servant, so that relation should be the master and the servant.
No, we
Only
have
that
5
relation.
rasas. We have 5
Okay.
rasas which our acharyas have given us.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Our sambandha with the Lord, this is sambandha gyan.
Yes,
First
Prabhuji.
sambandha gyan is saying that I am sevak, right? And then
Yes,
we can
Prabhuji.
slowly make progress to say Sakhya, Vatsalya, Madhurya. That's all that we have. And our acharyas are saying that how does a person in Dasya, what does he do? What does a person in Sakhya do? What does a person in Vatsalya do? What does a person in Madhurya do? And we have to follow those footsteps. Right? Just because there are some household practices or something which, and
Yes,
this whole Raksha Bandhan business, was just, it's a brother-sister business.
yes,
Why
Prabhuji.
are we bringing the Supreme Lord in the middle here? Unless our acharyas have said saying that this is going to take you back to Krishna. If the acharyas have said something like that, and I am not aware, I am very, very happy to know that if somebody can give me a reference saying that our acharyas have said that we have to do Raksha Bandhan. Right? But the point I'm making is strictly means this, saying that, okay, our acharyas have not said stop it. This is strictly.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Strictly doesn't mean saying that, I used to do certain, Krishna, actually Arjuna talks about this in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, right? These are called, what is that? What are the two kinds of, what is that word? Two kinds of practices, he says, Varna Sankara. What is that word?
Prayers and prayers.
No. This Kula Dharma and Jati Dharma. So there is this Kula Dharma and Jati Dharma. So these are based on different communities in the country, based on whatever, right? There, Kula Dharma, Jati Dharma. These are not these are just some forms of practices that have come out over various years of social life, which might have certain relevance, but not in pure devotion, not on the platform of pure devotional service, right? So when we are practicing pure devotional service, we should not bring all this. We should not bring all this in connection with the Lord unless our acharyas have mentioned it, right? So, and this is strictly, so yesterday I was asking some devotees, right? And they were like, Oh, we didn't think about this at all. I said, like, oh, why didn't we think about this? Shouldn't we? That's what we are expected to do, right? We are expected to be Krishna conscious all the time, isn't it? So which means whatever we do, we have to be Krishna conscious. And this is not just yesterday's business. I mean, this I've been seeing for many years. But the point I was making is that this pure devotion means that there are certain things only we can do. Simple. Because those certain things that we do only will take us back to Krishna. Not everything. From the statement of Lord Shiva, it is understood that he was always in Krishna consciousness and thus he remained free from material affliction. The only remedy, therefore, is to continue Krishna consciousness rigidly in order to get out. See, again, what is this rigid? What does rigid mean? What is the meaning of rigidly? Can somebody explain?
Stubbornly, strongly.
Stubbornly, strongly, right? Like no way of allowing anything else to be done, right? And what is this rigid about? This is rigid about rules and regulations that have been put on. Why should we do that? In order to get out of the contamination. So it's so clear. Prabhupada's each and every statement makes it clear. Why should Prabhupada use words like this? He could have just said, continue Krishna consciousness, however you want to do. He's not saying that. Rigidly, strictly, all this means abiding by some orders, some rules, isn't it? So we have to understand. See, Prabhupada never in his books has encouraged mixed devotion. I've been repeating this multiple times. I want this to be registered in our heads. Saying that this mixed devotion is our creation. Mixed devotion is not the design of the Acharya. The Samstapaka Acharya, founder of ISKCON, has not designed ISKCON and ISKCON's activities for mixed devotion. He's designed it for pure devotion. And we are doing mixed devotion today. So many things like this. And when I say some things like this, people come and say, you keep complaining about temple activities. I am not complaining about any particular temple. This is all temples in ISKCON, right? And it's a pain that I feel that we are not helping people go towards pure devotion. And it is our responsibility to do that because we are working in Prabhupada's ISKCON. And Prabhupada wanted this. Prabhupada wanted pure devotional service. Prabhupada was very, very happy with outreach. He used to give some like really bizarre ideas for outreach. Once in Delhi, he told Tejas Prabhu saying that, you should start, take a, that is a place where people used to come together for drama and, like this kind of art. So he said, take a place and you should start doing drama, Ramayana, Mahabharata and all that. And you attract people. So, I mean, Prabhupada was very, very creative when it came to outreach. It's not like simply, okay, go do a Bhagavad Gita class. So, but he used to, but eventually when people came, then they have to line up, they have to align, they have to follow rules. Outreach always can be as creative as possible, right? But then once people come in and become part of ISKCON, right? They start chanting, they start following our practices, it should become serious. It should become strict. It should become rigid. Otherwise, yeah, we'll go to Swarga. Okay, I'm stopping here. Any other comments? See, the only point we have to note is this sense of this when we do these kind of practices which are not strictly and rigidly following our acharyas, it might give us some kind of a prayas, some kind of a temporary, immediate satisfaction, happiness, something. Why? Because it is conditioned. Right, I've been doing this activity outside. Now I'm doing it inside ISKCON also. Oh, so natural. Now it's coming together. Yeah, you know. And no, this is this is not this is not right. Right. So we have to look for our acharya's instructions in everything that we do. We have to see. Question should be: is this acceptable? Not acceptable. Who am I to say acceptable, not acceptable? Have our acharyas accepted this? If so, we'll do it. Otherwise, we'll not do it. Just for the pleasure, that's just for their pleasure. Okay. Yeah. Anything? Anybody?
So, Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Mataji.
No, Prabhuji, like, I don't know how to raise the hand. I'm so sorry. Like, I have
No,
to
no, no
learn that.
problem. No problem,
No,
Mataji. You
let
are
him do it,
senior
Prabhu,
to
then
all
I'll
of
ask.
us.
No, Prabhu, that's not when I'm in a class, I'm not senior to anybody. I'm one of them.
No, but actually, you know what I mean. When we are in a class, also our Vaishnava etiquette actually tells us
No,
saying that
Prabhu.
opportunity
Nice,
should be
Prabhu.
given. No, anyway,
Nice,
I'm
Prabhu.
telling, I'm
Sorry.
telling whatever is there in Shastra. But yeah, since you are giving him an opportunity, that also becomes an instruction. Yeah, we know through.
Yes, Prabhu. I
Nice.
mean, from the initial verse that we read, right? Because we said, like, I mean, yeah, in general, we are in a very precarious condition.
Correct.
Okay. And then this whole Krishna consciousness will relieve us,
Yeah.
from this precarious condition. But
Yeah.
how a common man, right? Because let's say, I mean, even for me to
Yeah.
conceive that idea that okay,
Yeah.
I'm in a
Got
very
it.
precarious condition. I don't know about Krishna. I don't know anything about spiritual life. I'm just a regular human being in the society.
Right.
So how can they conceive that idea that okay, just by taking up this chanting of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra will relieve them? I mean, will give them relief. How can we? I mean,
Okay.
people, it's difficult for them to conceive, or how do we induce that idea
Yeah. So
to
basically, how do
them?
we preach this topic, this to people,
Yes.
right? How do we help them understand? Okay, very nice. Anybody wants to answer? Anybody? How do we preach? How do we make people aware that they have to do Krishna consciousness? The preachers have to break their heads over such questions. Because what do we tell people when people come? Uh, so the at least the approach I take, of course there might be different preachers will have different approaches towards this. So one thing I tell people is that everybody wants happiness. And yeah, inevitably, yes, everybody lives their hands. If you ask how many who all want happiness, then question is, have you found the way? Now, obviously, people will say, no, I have not found the way. And say, then here is the way, try it. Right? You will be happy. Right. Right. And yeah, they will be happy because Krishna gives them initially a big, push. Right. Any activity a newcomer does in Krishna consciousness, he experiences the bliss. It could be simply chanting, it could be simply honoring prasadam. For some people, it could be just hearing katha. For some people, just engaging with devotees and experiencing their purity. It could be anything. It could be anything, right? They will experience some bliss in Krishna consciousness, and that is the key, that they have to experience that initial bliss. Once they experience the bliss, they start coming again and again. Then is the time for molding. Then is the time for bringing them to the path. And of course, different people take different times. For example, some people might just like within 2-3 months they become very serious. How do we know they become serious? They start reading Prabhupada's book. They start asking questions. Then we know, okay, they're serious now. Right? Then we'll tell them right and wrong. Till then, we will keep allowing, okay, somebody is just coming to honor prasadam. Okay, no problem. Come, just honor prasadam. Because that honoring prasadam will purify him. He's liking that activity. He's coming, honoring prasadam. He's thinking he's just eating some food, but he's getting purified. Eventually, he'll come and sit in the class. Eventually, he will ask question. Eventually, he will want to practice. Eventually, he will want to serve. So we have to be patient. But the whole idea is happiness only. There's nothing else. Happy. We all want to be happy, so this is the path. And this is a very important question. Why are practicing devotees not happy? Because they're not doing pure devotion. If you do pure devotion, we will be happy because there's no way we cannot be happy. Because just coming in touch with Krishna, just chanting his name is a source of happiness, actually, if you realize. But because we do it so mechanically, we are not experiencing happiness. So we don't have the conviction to go and tell somebody else that you will be happy because we ourselves are not experiencing happiness. So if we simply strictly follow whatever has been told, we actually experience happiness. We actually experience happiness. Right? In a way that we can actually tell people saying that, yeah, this is not some, this is not some hoax. This is real. Come and experience it. So many people, they come and say, oh, I used to have so much tension, Prabhu. Now I'm so calm. I say, excellent. See, Krishna consciousness works. Now what is next? Right? So Krishna will reciprocate. So everybody, Krishna will reciprocate with every jiva. All we have to do is put a little effort from our side to facilitate that interaction. That's all we have to do. And then it'll happen. And convincing is simply happiness, Prabhu. Nothing else. What else people want? Happiness. Come, have prasadam. Are you happy? Yes. Everybody will say, yes, I was happy. Right?
Right.
Prabhupada said, what is the difficulty? Singing, dancing, honoring, prasad, eating. Is it difficult? Come and enjoy, experience happiness. Of course, then slowly, then we'll say, I know we are not here for our enjoyment, we are here for Krishna's enjoyment, purification. All that will come later, but not initially. Initially, we just let them come in, soak in Krishna
Right.
consciousness.
Okay. So somehow or other give them that experience rather
Yeah,
than
yeah.
trying to change their mental situation.
Mm,
Because just by
yeah.
concocting or coming up with an idea,
Mm.
convincing them with an idea is not going to help.
Yes, yes. And see,
It's
this
just
should be,
give them that experience.
yeah, we should give them the experience, but the experience should be in line with the Krishna conscious traditional experience, not giving them
Right.
some, blah. Like, for example, letting somebody wants to play guitar, come and do it. No, that's not necessary, right? Because tomorrow he's never going to come out of guitar. So what we should tell them, you like playing music, can you pick up one of these? Can you pick up a kartal? Can you pick up a mridanga? Can you pick up
Right.
maybe even a harmonium for that matter? Right? And say, okay, can you pick up some of these instruments? Because his propensity will be so high because he's a musician, music,
Mhm.
uh, he might even pick it up. But if and we can encourage saying that, just give kartal and say, start playing. I mean, and he might be like, wow, like I'm given to, play kartal in Kirtan, and just that opportunity might just give him so much happiness. Right? So we have to be a little bit smart and not just keep bending backwards and let people do whatever they want. Right? So as long as we do that, people will come around. See, actually, we are very afraid that people will run away. No, if we are smart, if we let people experience the bliss of Krishna consciousness in the right way, they will remain. They will remain.
Right.
Can
Yeah.
I add something, Prabhu? Hare
Just
Krishna?
okay, okay. Because Sumantra Mataji wanted to say something. Okay, tell if it is connected to this. Yeah, you can.
Yeah, it's connected to this, Prabhu.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think adding to what you said, Prabhu, I guess one of the important things what we learned was how do we treat the new people who come in the temple, right? So,
Right.
I guess that etiquette of we being Vaishnava and having that humbleness and hospitality, what we give,
Yeah.
also increases or
Yes. Very good point.
that kind of gives them a clarity saying that this is the kind of an environment
Yeah. Yeah.
where
Yeah. Very
we
nice.
are in,
Yeah. Good.
right?
Good.
So I
Good.
think that also adds up to this.
Yes. Yes. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah. Good. Yeah. Sumantra Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji,
Yeah. Hare-
I'm sorry, I could not understand. Prabhu, like when I was saying that you have to make a relation with the Lord, and he said, no, you have to get into the rasas.
Yeah.
So how do we how do we treat the Lord just as a superior and you as a
Yeah.
servant?
Correct.
And
That is
you
the beginning.
that's the
That is the
beginning.
beginning.
Okay,
Yes.
he's the superior and you have to serve him.
Yes.
And you can take him as you can take him as a living
person.
superior
Yeah,
being
he's a
person.
person. Yeah. He is a
Yes.
person. Right. So he's a
And
person. He will reciprocate.
and
And I am his servant.
uh-huh.
He's my Lord.
So that is the only relation we have to keep. You can't treat him, oh, he's my brother, he's my father,
No.
he's my mother. That's most of that. Yes, Prabhu. It's. I
Yeah.
mean, now
No.
when you're
Yeah. Yeah. Correct.
telling me, I'm also laughing at myself. So that
Yeah.
I'm sorry because I had to ask you this because I had not got a clear picture of it.
Yeah. Yes,
So
Mataji.
the relation you have to start with the Supreme Lord is to say he is the supreme personality of Godhead, and you
Yes.
cannot do any sort of nonsense. You just
Yes.
have to be a servitor and
Yes.
keep it like that. You
Yes.
can't treat it. So, but
Yeah, and yeah, your next part of the question I will answer already. You are saying your question will be then how will we go from Dasya to Sakhya to Vatsalya to
so
Madhurya or
that
anything?
that prema will automatically come.
Yes, it will automatically come. See, the beauty about Krishna consciousness is that the Sakhya, Vatsalya, Madhurya are based on Dasya.
Yes,
Sakhya,
Prema.
Vatsalya, Madhurya suddenly they don't change
Come.
the mood of the foundation of the Sambandha remains Seva, but in a special manifestation, right? Like actually yesterday, Balaram Purnima, I was speaking about this only, saying that see, we have to understand that Dasya is the foundation. Dasya is the foundation. And in Sakhya, like, why did the boys want Krishna to come and kill Dhenukasura? Because they wanted the fruits. Whom did they want the fruits for? Did they want it for themselves? Or did they
Krishna.
want it for Krishna and Balaram?
Krishna and
They
Balaram.
wanted it for Krishna and Balaram. How did they put it in front of Krishna and Balaram?
They wanted to enjoy.
So this is the beauty of the higher relations. The beauty of the higher relations is that they are so steeped in that relation that though their only intention is to please Krishna, though their only intention is to serve Krishna, they will put it across like in their rasa of friendship. Krishna, you please bring this for us, right? And then Krishna will do. And then we'll say, okay, now Krishna, you please take. We want you to take first. So the higher rasas, I was saying Dwarka, the wives of the wives in Dwarka, right? What are they saying to Draupadi when they meet her in Kurukshetra for that eclipse? They're saying we are all maid servants. We are all maid servants of Krishna's house. I am the sweeper. This is their description about their own position. So there is nobody, including gopis, everybody in the spiritual world is just thinking, I am the servant. I have to serve Krishna in this way because that will make Krishna very happy. That's all. But it is all about servant, 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 servant. But the transition from that vanilla servant, if you can call that, to specialized servitorship in Sakhya, Dasya, Vatsalya, Madhurya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, Madhurya, will happen over a period of time as our heart purifies, as we do more Shravanam about these rasas, as our heart starts getting fixed into one of these higher rasas. Starts getting fixed means when I hear about certain one of these rasas, in a class, I feel like, wow, this is so nice. And that will initially be everything might appeal to us. Over a period of time, as our heart becomes more and more and more and more and more pure, we become fixed to closer to our constitutional position. This is what our acharyas have said. But it has to be a very natural process. It's not a forced process. And one of the things that we have to prevent ourselves is doing things which is going to force us into one of these rasas. Like I keep saying about this Laddu Gopal worship, right? It will force us into Vatsalya, right? And we shouldn't do that. We shouldn't do that. It's maybe not our propensity at all, right? And so we should just keep ourselves, open, neutral, right? Be in Dasya for as long as possible. Follow devotional service strictly. Hear about Krishna and the different rasas, basically 10th canto, Krishna book. And slowly our heart will start becoming more inclined towards one of these rasas. Then we understand, okay, this is it. But it takes years and, a lot of purity mm, till, by the time we get there. So we have to be patient. Utsaha Nishchaya Dhairya. That okay?
Yes, Prabhuji,
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah, okay. Good. Okay, I think we started from 8:20 and it has gone up to 9:20. My idea is to close at 9 o'clock. Okay. Okay, Shashank Prabhu, anything? Last one.
Uh, yeah, Prabhu. So just like in connection to this Raksha Bandhan only, like from our ancestors, it could be like Gauri Ganesha Haba or
Yeah,
Varamalakshmi festival. Like all these festivals we were doing from since childhood.
correct.
So like now suddenly like it is like not stopping. Like even if we say like now Ganesha Haba festival is coming and again Navaratri and all.
Yeah.
So how to
Okay. See, we have to
connect?
understand saying that somehow, okay, so you're all new to Krishna consciousness. So there are two things, right? One is we have to come to the platform of surrendering completely to Krishna. And Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita that all these demigod worship is avidhi purvakam. So somebody who is fully surrendered to Krishna will say, okay, I want to serve only Krishna because Krishna is saying everything else is not required. And second thing is that is the first stage of surrender. Second stage of surrender is okay, even in trying to surrender only to Krishna, I might have various methods or ways to surrender to Krishna. Now, because I'm fixed in ISKCON, I'm going to stick to Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara, right? So the Parampara significance comes later, right? So two stages of surrender will happen. First is surrender to Krishna and not to anybody else, which means not following all these other, so-called, tradition. That is what I was saying. Jati dharma, kula dharma, tradition. While it might seem, yeah, it's better than atheism, but it's not pure devotion. So it's not full surrender to Krishna. So when we come to the stage of full surrender, then we'll say Krishna has asked us not to do all this. But this is again not forced. Some people take many years to come out of all this, and this is fine. We don't force anybody. If somebody says I'm doing Ganesha puja at home, we'll say okay, fine, up to you. But please understand what Krishna has said. You can decide when you want to stop or whether you want to continue all your life. That's up to you, up to each individual, right? First level of surrender is to come and say, I'm going to accept Krishna wholeheartedly as my only shelter. And then second stage is saying, I'm going to only follow what our acharyas have said. So this will take time. Different people, different devotees take different amount of time to get there. Okay?
Okay, Prabhuji. Yeah.
Okay. Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyo cha patitana pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo. Okay, Vishnu ki jai. Hare Krishna. Hey, we have to try and stop at 9. People are all getting late for their day work. I don't have any work. Doesn't mean that others don't have. Okay, so we'll try and see if we can close by 9. Because I want everybody to hear this. Question and answers are very, very important. And if devotees miss it, of course they can hear the recording later, but yeah, better we stick to time. Okay, thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Hare
Dandavat
Krishna,
Pranam.
Prabhuji.
Dandavat
Dandavat
Pranam.
Pranam.